If you guys haven't seen or heard already, Praise Foot, one of the greatest hardcore Ironmen of all time, actually the best in my opinion, has accomplished the impossible. He has achieved a Zuck Helm. Yes, that is completing all easy through Grandmaster combat achievements without dying. He did not ever actually get his scythe, but the Osmumten's Fang, I always called it the Osmumten's Fang for some goddamn reason. I wish it was just called Fang of Osmumten, so that it just rolls off the tongue and it's a little bit more natural to say the Fang of Osmumten. I swear, all the Raids 3... I know I'm going on a fucking tangent right now, but all of the Raids 3 items have the name first and then the item with apostrophes, like Tumakin's Shadow, Eladinus Ward. Like, it's just weird because almost every other item in the game has the name after. It would be like Ward of Eladinus, Shadow of Tumakin, Fang of Osmumten, but here it's just awkward. So I hear it all the time and I do it myself. The Osmumten's Fang. It just feels like you should say the before it, but you really shouldn't. It's fucking awkward. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is Praise Foot got a Fang the other day, and then he finished his final little challenge, which was actually a speedrun solo Nightmare. And he got that with the Fang. Fucking weird, by the way, because Nightmare, you know, has always been allergic to Crush, and now we got a Fang that's Stab, but it's so goddamn good everywhere that, yeah, you can just use it there. So anyway, he got it. Huge praise to the man. I mean, just insane. He is such a beast. And this feat, unfortunately, people that don't play OSRs won't really be able to grasp how insane it is. I mean, seriously. A hardcore Iron Man getting a Zuck Helm is just fucking ridiculous. The only thing that'll really trump this is a hardcore group Iron Man doing this. Now, I did say about like a year ago that no hardcore Iron Man will ever get a Zuck helmet. I was proven wrong just a couple days ago by this. But I will say, no group hardcore Iron Man will ever accomplish the full combat achievements yeah, on a group hardcore Iron Man. I really shouldn't even say that because I've already been proven wrong, so pretty much nobody can take me seriously anymore. But Praise Foot, you're a beast if you're listening to this. Yeah. Huge fucking shout out. Anyway, today, guys, we got a lot to talk about. But first, drop a like on the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't. Big shout out to the channel members, as always. Thank you guys very much. Now, let's talk. There's a few things to cover. First of all, almost every goddamn morning, I wake up and I see another comment saying, and it's always on like my older videos. So, Osmumten's Fang, or in the past, it was called Osmumten's Kopesh. I doubt like half of you even remember that. Like it's gone through just so many different iterations of what the Fang really was. And I have a couple videos. Of course, they're on YouTube forever, so people look up Osmumten's Fang and they see a couple videos of mine like 9 months ago or over a year ago talking about it. And it was a completely different weapon. It didn't have 2 accuracy rolls. It was awkward. It just wasn't as good at the time. And so people are like, you hated Osmumten's Fang. You don't get to say anything about it. Like, dude, I was literally analyzing a different weapon entirely. Like, this thing has gone through a fuck ton of changes. Anyway, Osmumten's Fang is incredibly powerful. We all know that now. We've all seen it. The price is just dropping like crazy, and I want to talk about that. TOA is so incredibly accessible. We were talking about this on my stream yesterday. Go follow it, by the way, down in the description. You'll see my Twitch link. Been having a lot of fun, a lot of like good discussions as well about the game lately. I've been grinding out some necks, doing some Konar Slayer, doing some raids here and there. So feel free to follow, guys, even if you're not on Twitch often, if you just want to pop in. Sometimes we're having like a nice discussion. So if you're ever in the mood, be sure to follow me down there. Also on my Twitter. Now, we were talking about the price of the Fang, how incredibly good it is, and how it's basically an item that you can grind out really early. So if you're an Iron Man, for example, you could just do Raids 3, go get a Fang, and just skip every other fucking weapon because it's so incredibly good. And yeah, I would say that is a problem. TOA is Raids 3. I mean, Raids 3 was supposed to be big fucking ticket items. But of course, you know, Jagex tried to go down this route. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing to do. In fact, I don't really even have a problem with where everything's at because I don't really participate in the economy. But I can see how it's hurting it. And I do care about the game. I do care about, just making sure items are balanced and making sure prices are whatever, fine. In a way, I'm not incredibly obsessed with it, obviously, because I'm an Ironman. But TOA's accessibility and just the fact that so many people, when they went to TOA for the first time, people were getting completions their very first attempt. Because you can. You have unlimited fucking lives in there. You just go in, die a million times, get your shit back, start off with a 0 invocation, pump up to 150, pump up to 300. It's like, it's so incredibly accessible. Everybody can do it. You can choose your invocations however you want. You can choose your room order. I mean, if there was a strict order that you had to go in, like TOB, if you wanted to practice Verzik, you got to well, first of all, TOB is a completely different thing. I mean, the rooms were set in a certain layout. There was no entry mode initially. And it's just like you can't practice certain things. You need to have a team. And your team's not going to want to fuck around with you trying to learn the mechanics. Here, it's like, dude, you can just go in on your own, learn everything on your own, die a million times, try it out. Imagine if Inferno was like this. For entry mode Inferno, you get to go in, you get all the same kind of layout stuff, but everything only hits you like 5s and 6s and stuff. And you could just go in and you could just practice Zuck a million times, practice Triple Jads a million times. People would be like, oh my God, it's the most accessible piece of content ever, Inferno. Like if that had actually come out and it was accessible to everybody would have an Inferno cape because you can just practice it a bajillion times. You know what I mean? Not everyone would have an Inferno cape, but you get the picture. It's like, accessibility is great and all. A lot of people get to participate. I'm not saying that's not a bad thing, but for Raids 3, every motherfucker's doing it. Everybody's grinding it. Drop rates, in my opinion, are not actually the problem. It's just simply the fact that it's end game. Raids generally is supposed to be seen as end game, super, super incredibly difficult content, grind it out. Get these big ticket items. But everyone can do it now, and which is fine. People are having fun. I'm not trying to take away anybody's fun. In fact, I'm only bringing this whole thing up just simply because I've been seeing an uproar about Osmumten's Fang being incredibly cheap and probably, most likely, getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And it's an incredibly good item. So, anyway, I know I'm just going on a huge ramble here. It's why they're called rambles. So I swear there's always like a few commenters that like they see one of my rambles ever and they're like, get to the point. I'm like, it's a fucking ramble. I'm not trying to make like I don't know. Anyway, it's a ramble. So let's talk Osmumten's Fang. What can happen to it? I have seen some suggestions. I've been browsing Reddit. I've been browsing Twitter. I've been seeing some stuff. I really do think that going down the charged weapon route is actually the best. And the reason I say that is because the weapon's no longer free, but there is free alternatives, so it'll kind of give you a little bit of a choice in certain situations. Like, okay, I could get a little bit more DPS, but I'm going to be having to spend runes potentially to charge this weapon. So my idea, people have probably already come up with this idea. I've just been kind of gathering my thoughts, but I really think what would be great for Osmumten's Fang is to have it be charged with potentially Chaos runes, potentially Death runes, and I'm kind of leaning toward Death runes. I think if the weapon were to take 1 Death rune per hit, I think that's totally fair. I think the weapon would still be in a great place. I think people would have choices. So if you didn't want to spend a Death rune every single hit you're going to do, you could just choose the Rapier or choose something else. But I really do think Osmumten's Fang is that incredibly powerful that instead of jacking up the drop rate so that people, I mean, I've already been seeing people go 400 TOAs drive a Fang. So for a lot of people that, Curtis, I just saw his log on Twitter. He's got 9 fucking Fangs. He's done about, I don't know, like 500 plus raids. But it's like, yeah, when you see certain people's logs, they're like, they have so many Fangs. We need to reduce the drop rate and make it like insane. We don't really need to do that. We just, people can go extremely dry on this stuff, and it's incredibly powerful weapon. So just making drop rates worse is always kind of a shitty idea, in my opinion. Now, it could be slightly balanced, so something else is a bit more common, and that's slightly less common. But I really think the way to go about it is to have it be charged. I'm sorry, but prices of TOA are way lower than people anticipated, and it's all because of accessibility. People are grinding TOA. People are having fun. Every motherfucker's doing it. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. If it was not as accessible and it was incredibly difficult and you had to do 300 TOAs from the beginning with Insanity on, with no practicing, and you had to be in a team of 8 or something like crazy, yeah, prices would be extremely healthy. The Fang would probably be a bill. But it's just everyone's doing it. So we just got to remember that. That's my proposal. I think Fang should be charged with runes. Just 1 death rune per hit. Maybe have it charged up to 100k. I think that would be fantastic. Let me know down in the comments, guys. I'm not trying to force this. I'm just sharing my ideas. What do you guys think? Are there better ideas? Do you think drop rates should be looked at? Do you think the Fang should not even be obtained? I know I've heard a bajillion people saying, oh, you shouldn't get any items at this thing. I'm not trying to gatekeep anybody. I'm just saying Fang is incredibly good. Raid's incredibly accessible. Instead of making drop rates worse or doing some weird shit, why don't we just make the item itself in a better place where it does cost a little bit to use? 1 death rune per hit is not that much. It's everybody would still use it. It would be incredibly powerful still. And I mean, compared to a scythe, it's literally nothing. Anyway, the other things I wanted to talk about were, let's see, on the Lake Sebe cast, which I did upload yesterday, so go check that out, guys. I was talking to Lake, and we were talking a little bit about Inquisitors because I had just come out with the Ramble right before I started talking to Lake. And one of the things we actually kind of came up with, well, at least I was kind of just sharing my little agenda, was what if full Inquisitors guaranteed a Dragon Warhammer spec? Keep in mind, Dragon Warhammer spec. If you had the full Inquisitor set, and it has to be full Inquisitor set, you will never miss a Dragon Warhammer spec. Now, you can still hit a 0, and you can actually still roll the miss. But there would just be some weird little mechanic in the game where no matter what, your target's defense will be lowered by 30 or, whatever. If there's some limitation on the monster, of course, that will be applied as well. But for the most part, even if you miss, even if you hit a 0, you will still guarantee that defense reduction with full Inquisitors. I honestly think, maybe that's too OP. I don't think so personally, but I'd love to hear some situations where you might think that's OP. PvP, I don't think would even be affected by this in any possible sense, because who the hell is specking just to lower people's defense out in the wilderness, and who the hell is bringing out full Inquisitors with the Dragon Warhammer? So PvP would be, that's not really a place where I could see it being like a problem. And I can also just see it being a really nice thing for CMs. I see people resetting Tecton a bajillion times simply because of their Dragon Warhammers. I see people just getting really tilted when they're doing CMs and trying to hammer Olm's Hand and it always fucking misses. I honestly think this could be a really good way to pump up Nightmare GP per hour for those that are, kind of worried about Nightmare. And also give Dragon Warhammer a little bit more love, because I watched Flipping Old School's little economy chart, and it was showing, certain prices of things. Dragon Warhammer's way down, Inquisitor's obviously way down, things like that. So let me know what you guys think about guaranteeing Dragon Warhammer specs. Lake had brought up, well, what's the lore behind Dragon Warhammer and Inquisitors? Like, what the hell? Like, why would that have a random effect? And I had just brought up, if you guys go to Nightmare now, up on the, stairs, you'll see these little, cult followers or whatever, and they're holding, these long-ass Dragon Warhammers that look a little budget, but they have, it's like a Darth Maul. Well, not quite Darth Maul, just a longer-handled Dragon Warhammer. And they're kind of cool, so maybe there could be a little bit of lore attached to it as well. I'm still totally wanting all the other changes I talked about with Inquisitors, such as the 5% damage and accuracy, such as the Inquisitor's helmet being a little bit buffed, the Halberd giving a little bit more crush accuracy as well. So all of those would also be applied, but just that Dragon Warhammer guaranteeing a spec. Also, I just got to say, if you're an Ironman, or if you're any account killing Corp, now you can have full Inquisitors, and you will always hit your hammers at Corp. Think about how fucking amazing that is. And before people are like, oh, that's easy escape. Who the fuck cares? It's like, who actually enjoys missing your first 8 Dragon Warhammers? I mean, people will still have to miss that as an Ironman because most Ironmen don't have full Inquisitors, but it would definitely incentivize people, even mains, to go get that full Inquisitor set because you will no longer be wasting time trying to hit hammers over and over and over. So I think it's a healthy change. Again, I'd love to hear some constructive feedback if there is any. But yeah, that's my idea for that, and I just wanted to bring it up here on the Ramble because I think you guys, I don't know, I feel like this hits a little bit more of my audience. I think the Sebe casts are kind of more of a niche, but I would encourage you guys, if you do have time in your day and you've been kind of itching for a little bit of RuneScape content, I would say, try out a Sebe cast, see if you guys like it. The lake cast was fantastic. We talked like all about the game, just a bunch of different avenues of the game, and I think there's always some nice insight. I mean, even I enjoy it. I learn things new every single week. So anyway, guys, that'll be it for the Ramble. It's a little bit of a short one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to drop a like if you haven't already, and thank you guys very much. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.